The construction industry is getting ready to pick up its tools and get back to work, but some will be better prepared than others. Papamoor contractor Todd Duncan spent 48 hours before lockdown shrink-wrapping housing frames, meaning it's full steam ahead for his customers come level 3.
Like the rest of New Zealand, we had 48 hours that we were going to go into lockdown. We've been in the industry now for 5 years. We've built a couple of houses, and we're painfully aware of the damage that could have taken place in terms of the frames and the trusses when they're in situ.
Shrink wrap has a number of uses on a construction site, such as safety, dust containment, and even storage. Now it has one more.
We came up with a solution, which was to shrink wrap them, essentially. Now, normally we put shrink wrap over scaffolding, but we understood that this was a last-ditch, last-minute sort of attempt to preserve the integrity of their projects, because at that stage, it was quite scary times, potentially, and no one knew how long lockdown was going to be. It's got treatments in there which reduce the amount of UV exposure that can come through, but most importantly, it was keeping the rain off those projects.
The shrink wrap solution has been recognised by the Scaffolding, Access and Rigging NZ Association.
So there will still need to be some checks on the actual scaffold and the rest of the site, depending on what the type of work it is. But for the most part, the idea with wrapping is that it protects the site.
And that's one less thing for builders to worry about.
We obviously wanted to protect them from the elements, protect the frames, the floors on a multi-storey house. We knew it was a 4-week lockdown, but it potentially was going to go longer, and we wanted to be in the best position to kick things off when we come out of the lockdown.
Basically, we can cut the wrap off. We can start working on it immediately without having to go through the moisture test process. 9 times out of 10, council would stop you and ask for you to do a treatment test to make sure that the actual treatment isn't compromised.
Even though construction can resume from next Tuesday under level 3, things will be a little different.
Some things will continue at the same pace, so if there's just a builder or a couple of builders on site, they will carry on pretty much the same as normal. But where you're bringing other trades into the site, there will definitely be a slowdown. Also with deliveries coming on site, we need to have 2 delivery drivers. We can't help the delivery person, so that will probably slow down deliveries. There may be supply chain issues as well, potentially, that we don't really know yet with procuring materials, so it will definitely be slower.
A number of new systems have been rolled out to stop any potential spread of COVID-19.
So we've had to put a control plan in place which is quite detailed, which we've sent out to all of our suppliers, subcontractors and contractors, which they all need to adhere to on our site because we're essentially in charge of our sites. So things like distancing, there needs to be minimum or no contact with other people on site. Normally only 1 trade on site now. There's lots of contact tracing information required, so when you enter and leave the site, we need to know where you've been, where you're going.
And I've got 2 site managers, like I say, that'll be walking around, policing, speaking to the foreman to make sure that they keep in touch with it. If it's an electrician fitting things off, they need to wipe everything down before they leave. Kitchen installers, they got to wipe everything down as well.
And the changes are being embraced by the industry.
The construction industry has been given a great opportunity to get back to work ahead of a lot of other industries, but with that comes a huge responsibility to keep the site safe and make sure that everyone is vigilant and keeping to the rules. And from everyone I've spoken to in the construction industry, there's a real feeling of making sure we need to get this right, we need to be really careful, and we need to make sure everyone stays safe.
Gavin Ogden, Local Focus.